Guys, it's day 3 of competition. I'm just gonna go ahead and get the bus. The buses, pretty sure the schedule we were given is different to the schedule that the drivers have. Guys, the village is looking on fire today.
That's it.
Oh yeah, he
did. Yeah, there's some beauty.
We have Liam and Liam's twin, Fraser. This is where the athletes like march out for their events. And then this whole these stands are full. It's so cool. The event's just about to start. The stadium is filling up.
Making his return to competitive diving after a long layoff with injury.
So Liam dived well in the 1 metre. Great to see him back in action. And probably back to the form that he was showing before that serious injury, which is great. 25 years old. And I would expect Liam to be one of the qualifiers. A long way to go.
Fraser Taverner of New Zealand. Forward 2.5, one twist.
So the young New Zealander gets his opening dive in and through the water without much hassle. Right on the corner of the diving board, only just managed to stay in control there.
It's slightly wonky on that table.
He's slightly on the wonk.
Liam Stone of New Zealand in 7th at the moment, so safely in those top 12 qualifying spots. Inward 2.5 somersaults in pike, 3.0 degree of difficulty.
Neat and tidy. It's a lower degree of difficulty. So when the divers are picking their dives, they're obviously limited by what they are physically capable of. But of course, the higher degree of difficulty only works if you can complete the dive well enough to earn the required marks from the judges. So
Fraser Taverner of New Zealand up next.
Oh, big dive for our young New Zealander. Only 20 years old. Forward 2.5, 2 twists. You can just see clearly here that he is a lot lower than many of his competitors when it comes to the height gain from the diving board. So it looks like it's a bit of a scramble all the way through, which is why he ends up with 5.5s. as expected. Consistency from Liam. Really good technician. All the young aspiring divers watching this, you don't need to look too much further if this is a dive that you're aspiring to work towards, or indeed maybe even perform it. And some good technical pointers there displayed by Liam Stone of New Zealand.
Now, where is Fraser Taverner? In 11th, just tucked into those qualification spots, the top 12 going through to tonight's final.
Yeah, I think Fraser's in the danger zone because of Jack Law's current ranking. He needs to do his very best now. That's a good effort on his third round dive, excuse me. Moving the competition along a little bit quicker than it actually is moving along there, apologies. Approaching the halfway point.
So Liam Stone gets us underway then in round 4.
Well, Liam just having an ounce of difficulty there to control that dive because the takeoff was compromised as he had all of his toes over the end of the diving board, or certainly from one foot. Shifting himself forwards, he's out of balance, so he didn't have quite the control he needed at the bottom of the dive.
Fraser Taverner tucked in 11th, sneaking through at the moment, inward 2.5 somersaults, 3.0 degree of difficulty.
Oh, not so good from Fraser. Takeoff is okay. He's quite tight to the diving board with his toes, and I think he knows that, so he wasn't so confident as he exits the dive, just close to the water.
So Liam Stone is in 6th, forward 3.5 somersaults in pike, 3.1 degree of difficulty.
Nice dive again from Liam. Really steady. Forward 3.5 in the pike position. Nice clean entry into the water. The judges will mark him favourably, and he keeps himself safe in qualification.
Reverse 2.5 somersaults in pike, just 3.0.
Oh, Fraser getting his hands on the end of that one. Reasonably clean entry, but he does lose form through the rest of his body as he enters the water. You can just see a lower back arch to smoothly try and get that dive in. He's also in the danger zone, come to the rankings and qualification spots.
Liam Stone of New Zealand, though, for his final dive, forward 2.5 somersaults, 2 twists in pike, 3.4 degree of difficulty. It's his toughest dive.
Big dive to finish for Liam. Ever so slightly back from the end of the diving board. Just makes it difficult to get the height and rotation needed. Finishing marginally short of vertical, but at the same time, a Q appears next to his name on the computer, which means that no matter what happens next, he is through.
Fraser Taverner is in the final qualification spot for now. Can he cling on to that with his fingernails?
Well, wait and see. It's going to be a battle between Cameron
Gamage.
And Fraser. Approaching the tail end of the prelims here. I wonder if you can tell. All right, it'll be down. Right down to the wire.
Yes.
Yeah, boy.
Final at the Commonwealth Games! Yeah, boy!
How are you doing? All right? Yeah. Yeah, before. Chat.
Sure, bro.
Chat. Final time, y'all. See my last one? They did that in 1 meter as well. They came fourth in 1 meter. You've got to remember, Fraser, these lads do it. These lads. Back corner, change it up a bit.
Okay.
And we are underway. This is going to be very, very interesting for a whole host of reasons. Normally we get a few dives to warm up. We've got one dive to warm up, and this is the warm-up dive from Fraser Taverner from New Zealand. He's 20 years old, and now we get eyes on Jack Law. This dive did not happen in the prelim.
Liam Stone from New Zealand, he was very steady Eddie in the prelim. Ended up 6th in the 1 metre.
Very precise, little bit back from the end of the diving board. Notice here as he comes in, 4 inches back from the end, which doesn't make it that easy to get the elevation you would be used to when you're right on the corner of the board as well. Not unusual as you're coming in with that jump hurdle step, trying to generate as much power into the end of the board, get it moving to get maximum height.
So all to play for as we go into the second round of dives. Fraser Taverner of New Zealand down in 11th of 12.
His hardest dive at 3.4 degree of difficulty, forward 2.5 two twists. You've seen a few of these already. You can see Fraser lower to the water, showing how difficult this dive is when you are in the early stages of your career, need a huge amount of strength and power to even attempt this dive.
3.0 degree of difficulty, coming back from a long injury layoff, 18 months away, the serious back injury. Avoided surgeries, rehabbed his way back to competition.
It's an incredible story, really, because as you could imagine, the back is an integral part of moving the body through the forces that are generated in order to move the springboard, the impact into the water, the folding forwards into the pike shape, which Liam does with elegance and poise there. So that is well, a huge achievement just to get back in the pool, let alone at this level.
So round 3 gets underway with New Zealand's Fraser Taverner. Forward 3.5 somersaults in pike, 3.1 degree of difficulty.
So So he needs to be utilising the rhythm on the diving board. Sending love to all those watching him.
Liam Stone in 9th, back 2.5 somersaults in pike, 3.0 degree of difficulty.
Oh, that's really nice. So the back 2.5 in the pike position. We've seen a few divers already perform this, and no one has done it as well as Liam Stone yet. That should get 7.5 from the judges. I think that's a beautifully executed back 2.5. Well, I think that's a little mean, to be honest, by the awards. I'd say that would be worth it.
Fraser Taverner of New Zealand, inward 2.5 somersaults in pike, 3.0 degree of difficulty.
That's okay, mediocre from Fraser. Really working the board as much as he can. Well, I liked his last dive and the judges didn't seem to go with me, so I'd say that's of equal standard. Great pike shape, plenty of height, clean into the water. I still think that's worth close to an 8, at very least a 7.5.
Let's see what they go with. Yeah, just sevens again.
Getting a bit of a rough time out there.
Reverse 2.5 somersaults in pike, 3.0 degree of difficulty for Fraser Taverner of New Zealand. Down at the bottom of the standings at the moment.
Which is where he'll stay after that performance of this dive. Rides diving board really well there, just out late. Over he goes, only going to get 5s on that from the judges. We just get like a micro break, don't we? And then Jack appears on the board with the 3.8.
New Zealander in 8th spot.
It's good from Liam Stone. 3.1 degree of difficulty. It's got good technique. Great set of skills. Came back, as we've already talked about, from a career-ending injury. So here he is, back at the and well, it's just one dive to go, and everyone who's involved has got a huge DD board.
Fraser Taverner with his final dive for New Zealand, back 2.5 somersaults in pike.
Finishing off his final, 20 years old from New Zealand. Plenty of diving ahead of him. Lots of inspiration to take away from rubbing shoulders with the big hitters in this event. And my word, there are some big hitters when it comes to degree of difficulty, of which this man, Fraser Taverner, is lacking at the moment. But what a joy to perform.
And Liam Stone of New Zealand finishing with the same dive. Forward 2.5 somersaults, 2 twists.
Leaving his hardest degree of difficulty until last. 3.4, forward 2.5, 2 twists. Liam Stone completes his campaign. 6 dives in, outside of the medals, but a very welcome back after a prolonged period of injury.
In the shower and the hot tub, keeping warm, ready for action. Arms raised for Liam Stone. What an achievement for him.
Yeah, you felt it.
Oh, I thought someone was skipping stones, huh?
No!
You said,
What?
Good?
I heard you, Arno. You said you thought.
James could have had that nervous, surprisingly.
Yeah, you were good
I
next
think I
time.
was more nervous at like national. How long do you reckon it will take for?
Bye! Ciao!